Zoya Yesu Azana. Give me yours.
Oh, it's the same thing. The same thing.
Like it's very loud.
It's true. Ours is low.
Like I'm straight from here, you can catch it.
I feel like crying.
Never
Again.
Hello. Your Excellency High Commission of Rwanda, Honorable Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Excellency UN Residence Coordinator, Excellency Dean of Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies Members of Diplomatic Corps, representative of the government of Ghana, the chairperson of the Rwanda community in Ghana, good afternoon, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emi Arsonvarimanriho. I will be the MC of today. I warmly welcome you to this solemn yet significant event, the 30th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. It is an honor to gather with you, and we remember, unite, renew in the spirit of our theme. As we begin, I would like to extend a special welcome to our esteemed guests, including representatives of the government of Rwanda and of Ghana, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the United Nations, and all other dignitaries present. Your presence here today is a testament to the solidarity and the shared commitment to ensuring that the atrocities of the past are never forgotten and never repeated. We gather here today to remember the over 1 million lives lost during the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994. This is a moment to honor their memory, to reflect on the pain and the suffering endured, and to acknowledge the resilience and the courage of the survivors. As His Excellency President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, once said, "We cannot turn the clock back, nor can we undo the harm caused. But we have the power to determine the future and to ensure that what happened never happens again in Rwanda." Our program today is designed to not only remember those who perished, but also to unite us in our common humanity and renew our collective commitment to peace, justice, and reconciliation. Let us now proceed with our program and allow me to outline the key items of today. We will have national anthems of Rwanda and Ghana. Then we will have a minute of silence. Thereafter, we will light a flame of hope. And then we receive a special performance from a session ensemble. Then the remarks by High Commissioner. We will also have recitation of facts of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. And then we receive a testimony by Dr. Odette Nyiramirimo, the survivor of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. We will also have remarks from the UN Resident Coordinator, and then remarks from the Dean of Diplomatic Corps. Thereafter, we will also have remarks by the representative of the government of Ghana, vote of thanks by the chairperson of the Rwanda community in Ghana, and then we will end our event by KWIBUKA songs. At this time, I can ask everyone to rise for the national anthems of Rwanda and Ghana, following which we will observe a minute of silence in honor of the victims of the genocide. still standing, let's observe a minute of silence to honor the victims of genocide against the Tutsi. You may be seated. Now we are going to proceed with lighting the flame of hope. May I request the protocol to help us? While they are coming, the flame of hope symbolizes our unwavering commitment to remembrance, the unity and renewal. Now we can receive the special performance of Aseshi. They will come and sing 2 songs. You are welcome.
hanagura amarira mazuririmba ishimwe rekeraho kwiganyira nshuti reka kwiheba kuko umwami yamaze guca inzira kuko umwami yamaze guca inzira icyo tugusabye mana nyir'ububasha n'ubushobozi nuko twazongera tukabonana n'abacu mu bwami bw'ijuru udusenderezemo ibishashi by'ubuzima maze abawe twese turirimbe haleluya 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 amen haleluya 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 amen. Hora ihorere never 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 again let us keep alive the memory of genocide never 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 again genocide against humanity. Never, 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 never again. Never, never, never again. Never, never, never again.
Thank you, Aseshi Assemble, for the moving songs. Before receiving the remarks of the High Commissioner, allow me to recognize Commissioner of Police, COP, Mr. Daniel K. Efriye, representing the IGP, with the other members of the Police Management Board. Your Excellency High Commissioner, you are welcome.
Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Deputy Minister, Her Excellency Mavis Nkasa Owadu, if I pronounce it well. Thank you very much. Senior government officials present here today. Senior officials from Ghana Armed Forces and the police services. I'm so honored to be with you. I know the IGP, Dr. George Dampare, was not able to be here, but he sent a delegation. We appreciate. The retired Major General Henry Kwame Anyindo, and the members of the Ghanaian troop that was on the peacekeeping mission to Rwanda in 1994. I want us to recognize them at this moment. I don't know if your delegation is here with you. Allow us to wave for recognition. Medase, thank you very much. Our Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, colleagues, High Commissioners, Ambassadors, I know you're all here. I can't name each one of you, but I'm very grateful to see you here. The United Nations Resident Coordinator in Ghana, we've been together on the streets all the way throughout to this day. Leaders of the public and private institutions, the president of Aseshi University, I don't know if he's here yet, but he was, the team is here. The team and the young people, the choir, the brilliant minds and the voices here are from Aseshi University. The rector and other senior members of the faculty of GIMPA, the chairperson of the Rwandan community in Ghana, dear compatriots and particularly young people who are present here and well represented, all protocols observed. Good afternoon once again. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for being here with us. And through you, I wish to convey our appreciation and sincere gratitude to the senior-most leadership of Ghana for not only joining us at this KWIBUKA means remember, the KWIBUKA30 ceremony, but for all the support and solidarity throughout this year and years past. Ghana's relationship with Rwanda's struggle goes back 30 years ago during the genocide against Tutsi, which we are here to remember. Back then, it was the Ghanaian contingent led by now the retired Major General Henry Kwame Anyindoho, who was with us when the UN mission told on the members to withdraw. As we remember for the 30th time, we also reflect on the many global friends who stood with us at our darkest hour. We would take an example of the United Nations Security Council in 1994. The moral clarity came from Nigeria, the Czech Republic, and even as far as New Zealand. Their ambassadors had the courage to call the genocide by its rightful name and resist political pressure from more powerful countries to hide the truth. Like the Ghanaian contingent I mentioned earlier and we recognize, today is an opportunity to thank people like Ambassador Ibrahim Gambari of Nigeria and Czech Ambassador Karel Kovanda, who contributed to creating awareness of the plight of Rwandan Tutsi who were being targeted for extermination. This year in Ghana, we had a series of events to commemorate the genocide against Tutsi, a symbol of the importance of remembrance and towards restoring the dignity of the loved ones that we lost. I wish to thank the founder and the president of Aseshi University, who will be joining us shortly, Dr. Patrick Ewua, the Aseshi community and the members of the faculty who ensured that the commemoration event held at their university was significant contribution to this duty of memory. The team at Aseshi, Dr. Mame Bonsu Mensah, Dr. George Francois, Dr. Kwame Akwa, that we call our brother, and his dear wife, our Rwandan students at Aseshi University, the Aseshi Ensemble, the choir that was created when they were doing commemoration. I think it will continue for other purposes, whose melodies punctuated our commemoration. We recognize and thank you all for your contribution to keeping alive the memory of those who were killed inhumanly. In addition to hosting the commemoration ceremony, the Aseshi leadership also decided to set up a lasting monument in honor of the over 1 million people killed during the 1994 genocide against Tutsi and the gallant men of the Ghanaian peacekeeping troop who braved the risk to save lives. Thank you, Dr. Patrick, for this important commitment to the memory, a crucial ingredient to ensuring that never again becomes a reality. Honorable Minister and our guest of honor, Excellencies, we also recognize and organize a half-day symposium on the 1994 genocide against Tutsi in partnership with Ghana Institute of Management and Public Administration, GIMPA, where we had the chance to deliberate on the facts of what happened as to educate today's and future generations as defenders of what we all hold dear. I wish to convey our thanks to Professor Samuel Kwaku Bonsu, Director of GIMPA, and Professor Lord Mauko Yevuga, who was the chairperson of the committee that organized this event. Similarly, I want and wish to thank our distinguished resource persons who traveled from Rwanda to come and join us in creating awareness on the genocide against the Tutsi. We are also joined by the team from Rwanda, led by Dr. Odette Nyiramirimo. She's going to give a testimony. She survived in Rwanda, and she's a medical doctor, and many, many things I can't speak. I would stay here for a long time if I talk about her CV. But she moves on, and another team, a professor also with us, Vichesha Dennis, and also Mr. Lamberi Bariho, they are also here with us. I cannot exhaust the list of good people that we've worked together. I'm very grateful. Let me, as I wind up, recognize my brother, His Excellency Charles Abani, the UN Resident Coordinator, for his support and her team and the substantive input in all these activities. We are grateful. Honorable Minister, Excellencies, as we remember, there are few elements that I wish to emphasize for our collective consideration. First, the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi was not a reactive, mass killing, but a deliberate, planned extermination. There are some who still struggle with this fact that was established beyond common knowledge by the United Nations International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. We must endeavor to put history in its right context and accord due dignity to over 1 million people that lost their lives. 30 years ago, the world abandoned Rwandans to their bitter end, as it has been said time and again, but what is more heartbreaking is that for the past 3 decades, the world has continued to abandon Rwandans by not ensuring justice, that they get the justice or the justice be served. Fugitives incriminated in genocide against Tutsi still roam around freely on many streets, not only in Africa, but worldwide. The world can and should do better. I think we can do better. Understanding the truth about genocide as a crime is and particularly the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, requires that education be not a one-off thing. We must include modules in schools to teach about this heinous sin, which takes meticulous planning to commit. Only then we can make progress to our global promise of genocide never again. The fight against genocide ideology manifested through hate speech and discriminatory politics that is characterized Rwanda in the lead up to the genocide against the Tutsi must be reinforced. All these efforts to stop discrimination and ideologies and hate speeches should be really stopped. Let us punish genocide fugitives and also struggle to uproot the ideologies of genocide. We should be strong again and against the hate speeches, as I already said. In our world today, even in our sub-region, in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, hate speech has been a weapon that has led to numerous counts of genocidal killings targeted the Congolese Tutsi. The culprits in this are the FDLR, a force composed of remnants of the Force Armée Rwandaise, the army that oversaw the implementation of the inheritance of the Tutsi in Rwanda, who under international protection crossed safely to the DRC to form the armed forces whose ideology is the completion of the same evil plan they had hatched in Rwanda. As long as we still pay lip service to uprooting such evil, it becomes clear to anyone that we cannot make true our commitment to global safety and security enjoyed by all. In conclusion, I wish to reaffirm Rwanda's commitment to continue sensitizing the international community to put in place laws that criminalize genocide and genocide ideology, and its collaboration with national and foreign partners in the fight against denial and revisionism of the genocide against the Tutsi. Honorable Minister, Excellencies, our world has made many promises that we have not kept time and again. Today, at this commemoration, I wish to ask us all to refuse to be among those who only promise genocide never again as a political gesture rather than a safety and security imperative. I want to thank you once again, and we recommit again to remember, unite, and renew. We don't only remember, but we renew and we commit to have a better world for ourselves and for our future generation. I thank you once again. Murakoze cyane, medase.
Thank you, Your Excellency High Commissioner. Your Excellency High Commissioner and the guest of honor, allow me to welcome our group of young people to come and recite facts about the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi to remind us of the history and the gravity of the events we commemorate today. The protocol will help us. We can start now.
The genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda lasted 100 days from 7th April to 17th July 1994.
The genocide in Rwanda had specific target to wipe out the Tutsi group.
It's not the Rwandan genocide, Tutsi genocide, or the Rwandan war and genocide, but it's legally proper named as the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi.
Over 1 million people were killed. More than 2,500 women were raped. Rwanda was shattered.
The 1994 genocide against the Tutsi was planned and meticulously executed. It was the fastest genocide of the 20th century.
Brave people were being targeted. This they are protecting the Tutsi during the genocide.
The 1994 genocide against the Tutsi was stopped by the Rwanda Patriotic Front, RPF, led by President Paul Kagame.
Discrimination that led to the genocide against Tutsi resulted from the colonial divide and rule policy that continued into the post-Rwandan's national policy.
At the height of the genocide against the Tutsi, the United Nations called for the withdrawal of its peacekeeping force.
The Ghanaian troops in UNAMIL were among the few that stayed in Rwanda during the greatest point of need.
In dangerous circumstances, peacekeepers saved thousands. Rwanda recognized retired Major General Henry Kwame Anyidoho and retired Major General Joseph Na Adinkra with National Medal of Bravery in recognition of their heroism.
"30 years later, Rwanda has changed in this stipulated brief from the country in which the genocide against Tutsi occurred.
30 years on, she is one of Africa's strongest economies.
Today, Rwanda is the safest country in Africa to travel alone.
Today, Rwanda tops the world with the highest number of women in parliament.
On the 30th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, we remember over 15,000 families which were completely wiped out.
We remember the men and women who died protecting their families.
We firmly commit that never again will any Rwandan weep because of genocide. Never again should genocide happen in the world.
Rwanda has intentionally chosen to be united and inclusive, to be accountable and to think big.
We recognize the plight of many who remain victims of the divisive politics.
We celebrate the new Rwandan who self-defines as Ndi Umunyarwanda. I am Rwandan.
We celebrate the resilience of Rwandans who picked their pieces to rebuild.
We salute the resilient spirit of the men and women of the RPF who paid the ultimate price to end the genocide against Tutsi.
We acknowledge the sorrow of the survivors who returned to their homes to find them destroyed.
We recognize the formidable strength of the survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi who found the courage to continue living.
We remember the dreams of the victims which never came to life.
We remember the brothers and the sisters who never saw each other again.
We remember the families who were torn apart as they fled, never to be reunited.
We remember children who were killed before they lived somewhere inside their mother's home.
We remember the men and women who walked long distances in search of safety.
Thank you very much. You can regain your seats. The recited facts are vivid and they are still in our memories as Rwandans. However, as you have heard, we are not only in the past, we look into the future with hope, so that what has happened will never happen again. Now it is my higher time to introduce Dr. Odette Nyiramirimo, a survivor of the genocide against the Tutsi, who will share her personal story. I may not introduce her entirely. She knows her story, and her CV is immense. Doctor, you are welcome.
Good afternoon. Not very easy to talk after these young people, but I try to put my strength together and tell you my story. I'm born in 1956 in a big family of 18 children. I was the 17th. I grew up in a country where divisions were even taught at school. Before I went to school, at age of 3 in 59, I saw my house, the house of my parents, my brothers who were already married and who lived on the same hill, my neighbors who were Tutsis, all their houses were burnt. Our cattle were slaughtered, and we lived in the bush. For a child of 3, I found that even good, because we were many children playing together in that bush. When it was raining, it was a big problem. Our mothers tried to cover us with the little mats they had. But as a child, I didn't know what was really happening. But I remember I've been always afraid of seeing flames of fire because I saw all those houses burning. At school, the teachers used to say, the Tutsi, get up. The Hutu, get up. And we even didn't know in which category we would be. Sometimes you would get up because your friend got up. But the teacher would say, no, 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 you sit down. Or sometimes you hear something like, you're the snakes there, you sit down. But we couldn't realize the reason. And in the primary 6, that was the big issue. Because there were files we were to fill, if you want, because we all, of course, dreamed of going to secondary schools. And to fill the files, you had to put that you were Hutu or Tutsi. And you couldn't escape that. In the national survey, I hear they had found in 1965, they had found that Tutsis might be between 35 and 40%, especially in my region. But it was recorded that Tutsi were 10%, the Hutu 89%, and the Twa 3%. Because these categories, which were drafted and written and put in ID cards by colonizers, they had become like ethnic groups. They even wrote races, like as if some were white, others black or yellow, but in the ID cards it was written race Tutsi, race Hutu, race Twa. And these had been just put there by colonizers to divide and rule, like one of the kids said. And those practices continued, and we couldn't have Tutsis, many Tutsis go to secondary school because they were meant to be only 10%, but I was lucky to have a place in secondary school. When I was in S5 in secondary school, in 1973, all the Tutsis were chased from secondary schools, from universities. Even those who were working in government, they were all kicked out. Even the teachers. You will go to any office and find a list, you are unwanted. So that's the way I grew up, being excluded. A child is meant to have dreams, to become this or that, but we were always reminded that we were less than regular people and we couldn't have dreams. In a way that I remember one day my father had told me when I was lucky now to go back to another school, and I was helped by a Belgian religious lady to go back to school, and she could hide me when the government officers came to check if there were no more Tutsis in the class, and I come back when they are gone. So I finished the secondary school in that way. And when I told my father I wanted to go to university, my father couldn't believe it. He said, "My child, why do you want to go to university? You will not be heavy, you will not have any specific post in this government." He even used, I could say, something that I always remember. He told me, "You'll never be Madalena Inghamie." And that Madalena Inghamie was the first Rwandan minister woman. That was in 1975. There was only one woman who had been minister for social affairs. And my father told me, "You'll never be Madalena Inghamie." And I told him, "You never know, I can become Madalena Inghamie." Anyway, he laughed. He said, "Okay, you do whatever, but I would have wished that you become a teacher and you stay in the village so that at least we know where you are." But he let me try to have university. And having a university was not easy. The same headmistress who had helped me had to go negotiate for me in the ministry because others had gotten their registration at university and I couldn't get it. And so it was always very difficult for the Tutsi persons to have school or to have jobs. Now, when I finished to go to university, when I went there, I wanted to do medical school. Again, I was refused to go, but I tried, went back to the ministry, tried to have the place, but it was practically impossible. But I went to see the dean of medical school faculty, who allowed me to be in the school. I don't know, I will not explain all the details, but I eventually did the whole medical school. But to have a place in the hospitals which needed people really, because we were not many doctors in Rwanda at that time when I finished school in 1981, But all the Tutsis could have places in hospitals which were very far from the town. But we didn't complain. We went there and we worked. It was unimaginable that even being a medical doctor, they will be always checking, why is she a medical doctor? Why is he? Any Tutsi, wherever they were, we were always afraid to be targeted by any problem. And I remember in 1989, one morning, a person from the office of the president came and looked for me, and I didn't know why he was looking for me, but he invited me to go to see one officer at the presidential office. And they asked me questions. Why don't you like the president? I say, me? I like the president. Why shouldn't I like the president? You were happy when his brother died, but I don't know his brother. How was I happy? Yeah, we know that you said their demons will kill all of them. I say, I'm a medical doctor. Can I say such kind of things? But the following morning, I was fired from the hospital, but they didn't fire me completely because I continued teaching in the medical school where I was also teaching, and I didn't know what to do. I was afraid, I couldn't sleep. It's like I was, even the other doctors who saw me were looking at me like as if I was really a bad person who hated people. And I had to go every Tuesday, I remember, to explain that I love the president, that I love his family, that... Anyway, that lasted like 2-3 months until I stopped going there and nobody asked me, but I resigned from that hospital, and my husband and myself, he's also a medical doctor, we opened a private clinic. Now let me go straight to the genocide and tell you how I survived. That was to tell you on how it was very hard. That is my story, but many other Tutsis were similar, and I was the luckiest because all those who were chased out of schools in 1973 have never had a chance to go back to their schools, or others fled the country, like it had been in 1959 when the colonial people gave the power to the Hutu group that had taken power at that time. In 1990, because there were many Rwandan refugees who were living in exile from 1959 and 1964, 1973, there were many Tutsi refugees who lived in exile, mostly in neighboring countries. They kept asking to come back to their country. And among them, I had brothers, at least 2 brothers, and I had cousins and all the other many Tutsis who had fled the country. And they wanted to come back to their country. They even negotiated, they sent letters, and the president would say on the radio, on official meetings, that Tutsis, wherever they are, they remain there. The country is small, and it is like a glass full of water. If you add 1 drop, the water will fall aside. So it's like the president didn't really want them to come. And the Tutsi who were in Uganda had helped Museveni, current president of Uganda, to fight for their freedom, and themselves, they were preparing to come back and bring their families back to their country. It is not easy to live stateless. And on the 1st October 1990, they started the war to come and liberate the country. They called it the War of Liberation, because they felt even the people living in the country were not free. They had to be liberated, and themselves, they wanted to come back home. When that war started, we living in the country, we didn't know about it. But on the 4th of October, 3 days after the war had started, the government created like fear in the whole country, shooting up during the night and saying that the enemy is everywhere, mostly in towns, and so all the Tutsis had become cockroaches, RPA, because the army that had come was called itself Rwanda Patriotic Army, from the Rwanda Patriotic Front, which was the organization. And many Tutsis were put in the prison on the 4th of October. And even those who were not in prison, they started being persecuted and mistreated or chased from their jobs. And that's the period really any Tutsi suffered, because they were always reminded, you invaded us, but you say, I don't know about the RPA. Why do you say we, while me, I'm with you? But no, if you are a Tutsi, you are the enemy. And even the army released commandments, the journalists started publishing what somebody had created in 1959 called Gitera. He had written 10 commandments of Hutu, and those 10 commandments came back on the journalism that no Hutu could be a friend of a Tutsi. If you are a man married with a Tutsi, you are a traitor. If you have a friend Tutsi, you have like cancer in your leg or in your stomach, you have somebody who will suck your blood, things which were bad, very bad. And so that was said openly, publicly, so that everybody understands how Tutsis are bad people. So the genocide ideology has been taught all those years to schools, to children, to wherever, so that it was very easy to execute genocide in 1994. Now comes the day of the 6th of April, when at about 7:30 in the evening, we hear the plane of the then President Habyarimana was shot. I remember my husband told me, if the president is killed, we better leave this town and we try to flee by the south, and maybe by tomorrow we shall arrive in Burundi so that we can leave. Otherwise, if we stay here, they will put roadblocks. They used to put roadblocks and stop Tutsis or kill them. And it was something that has been repeated so many times that we knew that whatever is done, the Tutsi will be the scapegoat. So my husband said, you prepare, and we take our car and we go. I said, but my sister, I had one of my sisters who lived not far from our home in Kigali, and I told him, you go get her because they will kill her. She had been targeted and moved from her house to another. They wanted always to kill her. She was a person who would say always the truth. She was a member of parliament, and she had been elected by that governing people, but they did it purposely, just to show there is a Tutsi even in the parliament. There was also one Tutsi cabinet member showing to Westerns that they are not excluding Tutsis when they were asked that question. My husband went to look for my sister, and they arrived when all the children, I had 4 children, 3 of mine and another child who was in our home. So I prepared them very quickly, and we were almost ready to depart, like at 9 in the evening, when my sister started calling her friends with whom she had worked hard to try change things, and she called Agathe Uwiringiyimana, who was the prime minister. She was a Hutu, but she was fighting against that genocide ideology and fighting against discrimination. And she called her, and Agathe told her, tomorrow morning I'm organizing a meeting so that we tranquilize the people, so that nobody is afraid. And my sister called again someone else and someone else. One called Lando, was the president of the party, the Liberal Party, where she was a member, and myself actually. And she called many people, and we were waiting for her. At the end, she said, I'm not going anywhere. My colleagues, politicians, they are confident. And she even called one member of RPF who said, no, you stay there. We know where you are. We can rescue you when needed. And she said, we stay here. And my husband refused. He said, no, we should go. He tried to convince me to go, and I said, you go with the kids. Me, I stay with my sister. And in the end, my husband also refused to leave me behind, and he said, okay, let's stay here, but whoever survived between us will regret this night we didn't leave Kigali. In the morning, the roadblocks had been put all over the country. They had already started killing the Tutsis who tried to flee. And at 11, a daughter of my husband's cousin calls, and I take the phone, and she was crying, my father and my mother have been killed. Can you come and pick us? But we couldn't go pick them because they were roadblocks. And I told her, let's tell somebody maybe who might help. So we called an Italian who was our friend. The Italian went to pick them, hopefully, and he put them at the airport, and they were evacuated. But from that day, from that hour at 10 in the morning, we started having calls, and we were calling other people we knew, and we knew who was being killed, who it was. We were really afraid, and we jumped the fence of our house, and we went to a convent, which was near by where we lived. We found nuns there who gave us a room, and we stayed there like 3 days. But the superior of this convent came to us and said, we have to pay some gendarme, it's like the police, who accepted to be on the front door so that the killers don't come in, because now we could hear guns and machetes even on the road, and people screaming. And so whatever we had as money, we had given her. After 3 days, that superior of the convent came to us and said, now I have to register and show the list of all the people hiding here, because we have more than 200 persons, and the police and the army, they are coming all the time to ask to know the people who are hiding. We said, please don't put our names. So we jumped back to our house, and we said we prefer not to be registered in that book. So when we arrived there, my husband told me, let me go and talk to those police myself and pay them so that they protect us, not at the convent. So he went to talk to them, and he even tried to convince them to help us cross by not a big road going to south, but going round hills and try to cross a river, a big river, Nyabarongo, that is there. The two policemen, the two gendarmes, they accepted. We paid them, but they wanted more than we had. They wanted 200,000, but we had only few thousands left. And we said, but we have travel checks that are not signed. We showed them the travel checks. They started looking at us like as if we have money from the RPA. How do you have such kind of money? The dollars, these are travel checks, but I was a medical doctor for Peace Corps, American Peace Corps, so I was paid in dollars. So I explained, but they didn't trust us, but they took the $200 or $300 we gave them anyway, but in the morning they were supposed to go with us and try to go by small roads and arrive at that river, and we signed to them that we give them our car and everything that is in the house. So they accepted. After these contracts that they have bought the car, they have bought the TV and everything, we prepared to leave at 5 in the morning. At 5 we were in the car, they didn't show up. My husband tried to go and try to find them, they were gone. So, but we decided, let's go on ourselves, and then, because the killers started killing on the roadblocks in the houses at 7. That was the hour for working in Rwanda. The work started at 7. So, and the killing was like, it also starts at 7 and ends at 5 normally, generally in the evening. So they called it work. So we crossed the roadblocks before even 6. It was like 6 when we went out of our house, and my sister, who was more known, she was covering her head like a Muslim woman and trying to hide her face. We went to a place that is called Butamwa, passing behind the hills, and then arriving there, the police who were at that commune, at that district, they recognized my sister. They said, hey, you are still alive. everybody was looking for you. And my sister started telling them, you are my children. You remember you were in that class when I was your teacher. And they were looking at her like, now this is finished. You are meant to be killed. But let's give you money and you help us just arrive at the river. So we gave the money to those people. And actually, even before leaving our home, I called the head of the convent where we were the first 3 days. And she came nearby the fence. I told her we were going to try to leave. And what she did, she went back in her room and brought me 50,000 because we didn't have any more money left really, at least in Rwanda currency. And she gave me that money and she wished me well. So we had that money that we gave to the police there at that Utamwa district office. We left our car there and we went down to the swamp, tried to cross the river. When we arrived in that swamp, there were many Tutsi, maybe 1,000 of Tutsi hiding there. Others have been trying to cross that river, which you could cross by small boat. But all the boats, they were taken out at the other side of the river so that nobody can cross. We spent almost the whole day there trying to call the other side. We tell them, please bring the boat, we are going to pay. Since they refused, my husband started working with the other men we had found in the swamp to cut some banana trees and make what they call rado, to try to cross the people who can't swim. And when even we try to go to jump in the river and swim, people outside come with their spears and the machetes, you cross, we kill you. And they started shouting, and so mobs of killers came to us. They took whatever we had and recognized again my sister and said that they were surprised she was alive. And we tried to go up the hill to go back to the district where we came from, but they killed my sister there. Sorry. My husband had bought 2 Chinese grenades before we leave. And he had left 1 grenade with some boys who were in the same convent where we were. And he was holding the other grenade. And he told the killers, this grenade, I'll open it and we are all killed together. But and those people, they knew what was that grenade. Actually, it is them who said it is a Chinese. That grenade will kill like at 500 meters around. So these people, they might be collaborating with the enemy. How did they have this grenade? But the mayor of that district, who knew us well, tried to help us get out of this mob of killers. His wife was a Tutsi, and he had also managed to have her cross the river the day before. So he sent 2 other policemen, and they said to the big group of the killers, you let them, and we go to the district to interrogate them, to ask them where the enemy is, how they had found this, the grenade and things like that. But it was a way of helping us get out of we arrived at the district, and that mayor sent us even some rice and beans. So we shared very quickly, and it started raining. When it was raining very heavily, he came himself to talk to us, and he said, oh, the Interahamwe, the killers, they are all around the office, and they are waiting that we interrogate you so that they can kill you after. So if you could go through this fence and run to the other side, I wouldn't wish to see your kids being slaughtered here. But we were too tired. That was around 5 p.m. And we had started running from 5:36 a.m. So we said, no, we can't. Let's get in the car and try to drive very fast before we are caught. So he asked the police at his district, you don't shoot. So we got to the car, and the killers saw us getting out, and they started running after us. But we were fast, and we went back to our house that we found wide open. People had come in and didn't find us, and they had looted what they wanted. But we entered the house, and the same evening, it was announced in the radio that we had been killed in the swamp with the deputy, the parliamentarian, Venancia, my sister, and so people knew that we were dead. Nobody came to look for us. We stayed in the house without putting any light for like 3 weeks, and the 3rd week, the telephone kept ringing. The telephone rang, and a friend was calling us. He helped getting in the hotel Milcorin, sending us police to help get in the Milcorin hotel. That's where we were saved from. And to be saved from Milcorin, we were exchanged. The UN army, led by General Dallaire, Romeo Dallaire, the Canadian, they negotiated for us between the RPA and the government on how they could exchange the people that were so-called related to enemy, and those who were caught by the RPA and who were like the soldiers or their wives from the then government. So we were exchanged against either the soldiers or their wives and the killers. And that's how we got to the RPF, and the RPF was the one that had actually asked the UN army to negotiate, to do that exchange, to try save as many as they could. Because what they were doing was trying to save as many as they could save. So when we arrived at the RPF zone, we were saved. what I can say to conclude is that growing, I told you, we were told not to have any dreams. But after genocide, now the new government, because the RPF stopped genocide, had tried to save as many as they could. I can tell you that the Tutsis who were saved, they were about 270,000. They were not many, those who survived in Rwanda. But after genocide, the RPF took power and they said everybody is Rwandan. They abolished the ID card. They mixed the soldiers with whom they were fighting, and every child has the right to have a school, no written ethnic group, no discrimination. And one day, they even proposed me to become the Minister of Social Affairs. So I became that Madarena Ingamie one day. And now we live in a country where everybody can have a say, is happy to live, and we try to do whatever we can to reconcile the people of Rwanda. I've now finished the work of the government after having been a minister, a senator, member of East African Legislative Assembly, but I created a business, a hotel, to give work even to those who came out of prisons after having committed genocide. It is not easy, but we say we have to do that to have a country where our children and grandchildren will all live together as Rwandans. I thank you.
Thank you. Your personal testimony is powerful and encouraging. If I may quote you, you said you were told that you are not allowed to dream. But currently, the Rwanda is full of dreamers. We dream and we realize our dreams. That is a commitment of the current government. And we will survive and we will have hope for tomorrow. Now, next we will hear from UN Resident Coordinator, followed by the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, and finally, we will receive the guest of honor. UN Resident Coordinator, allow me to invite you to the podium. You're welcome.
Your Excellency Rosemary Mbabazi, the High Commissioner of Rwanda to Ghana, accredited to Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Togo. The Honorable Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and government officials here present, including members of the various parts of the armed forces. Your Excellencies, the Dean of the diplomatic community, members of the diplomatic corps, the retired Major General Anyidoho, and those who served in the Ghanaian contingent, government officials, civil society representatives, our visitors from Rwanda with the powerful stories, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed if I missed any. Tough acts to follow, to make statements. I stand before you with a heavy heart, yet resolute spirit, as we come together to commemorate one of the darkest chapters in human history, the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. We thank you, High Commissioner and partners, for putting together a series of activities: the Walk to Remember, the Symposium, and today's main commemoration in honor of the resilience of the survivors who have transformed their pain into advocacy for peace, justice, reconciliation, as well as to fuel our determination to build a world where no one suffers such brutality. Genocide thrives on division, ethnic, religious, political. Our duty is to bridge those divides. We unite across borders, across cultures, across ideologies to promote dialogue, understanding, empathy, and peace. We support initiatives to foster social cohesion, tolerance, and respect for diversity and for each other. Together, we can dismantle these seeds of hatred. Prevention is our best defense. Let us renew our commitment to identifying and addressing the risks before they escalate. We've all heard this story. It didn't happen overnight. It was planned, it was meticulous, it was brutal. We must invest in the education that promotes human rights, tolerance, critical thinking. An informed society is less susceptible to extremist ideologies. And it was great to see young people, most of you not even born when this tragic event happened, recite those facts, because they are the power that will lead you to not stumble in the same way. We must also collaborate with civil society, governments, and regional bodies to strengthen early warning mechanisms and respond swiftly to threats. The key messages, and I delivered these yesterday: vigilance and early warning, and recognize the trends and patterns that begin this assiduous, terrible journey. And let us all stop and reflect in our own spaces. This, we all know, is not the first genocide, and there were many before it. We must learn to be able to recognize it and prevent it. We must build on the education and awareness and defy that saying that history teaches us nothing. History must teach us something, and we must change. And we must confront hate speech, challenging it wherever we hear it, with a boldness that is reflected in the response of the Ghana Armed Forces. We must also promote justice and accountability. Impunity drives hatred and promotes this kind of violence. Justice must be served, and those who are responsible must be held to account. This year, the United Nations Global Department for Communications, in cooperation with the United Nations System in Rwanda, the Office of the Special Advisor on Genocide Prevention, the Government of Rwanda, Prison Fellowship Rwanda, the Aegis Trust, launched an exhibition about the power of genocide reconciliation, the potentially deadly impact of hate speech, and how to say no to hate, hashtag, and how you take actions that make a difference. The exhibit, Remember, Unite, Renew, which is the theme of this event, was publicly accessible in the UN headquarters visitors lobby throughout April and is still available online. And if you haven't seen it, I urge you to look for it. At the heart of the exhibit is another story, the story of Lawrence Nyorangira, who fled the killings in her community, led by her former neighbors. The exhibit also features voices of Rwandan community members who provide insights on the challenges of forgiveness and the ongoing path of reconciliation in post-genocide societies. Today, Rwanda is a testament of the power of that post-genocide reconciliation. Amongst the stories of hope are that of Lawrence, a survivor, and Xavier, her family's killer, who now live as friends. As we observe this today, we acknowledge the role of the international community in efforts to ensure the prevention of genocide through education and outreach events, constant calls to stop fueling hatred, prejudice, and bigotry. We must learn from these mistakes and strengthen our commitment to the early warning systems and to the Secretary General's call for prevention everywhere against violence. In this year's message, the Secretary General calls on the international community to, and I quote, pledge to stand as one against all forms of hatred and discrimination. And he points out that we can draw, and I quote, a straight line between the senseless slaughter of over 1 million Tutsi, as well as some Hutu and others who opposed the genocide, and the decades of hate speech that preceded it, inflamed by ethnic tensions and the long shadow of colonialism. I will present to you now his full statement. On this day in 1994, and for the nearly 100 days that followed, 1 million plus Tutsi children, women, and men were killed by their fellow Rwandans. Families turned against families, friends became foes, and a dark spirit of intentional and brutal violence engulfed a nation. We will never forget the victims of this genocide, nor will we ever forget the bravery and resilience of those who survived, whose courage and willingness to forgive remain a burst of light and hope amidst this dark chapter of human history. This year, we remind ourselves of genocide's rancid root, hate. For those who would seek to divide us, we must deliver a clear, unequivocal, and urgent message. Never again. We can draw a straight line between the senseless slaughter of over 1 million Tutsi, as well as some Hutu and others who opposed the genocide, and the decades of hate speech that preceded it, inflamed by ethnic tensions and a long shadow of colonialism. Today, around the world, the darkest impulses of humanity are being awakened once more by the voices of extremism, division, and hate. On this solemn day of remembrance, let's pledge to stand as one against all forms of hatred and discrimination. Let's ensure that the acts that began on April the 7th, 1994 are never forgotten and never repeated anywhere. In conclusion, let us be the guardians of peace and humanity. Let us honor the victims and the survivors. That story was just so powerful that we heard here. By preventing genocide in our time and in perpetuity, together we can create a world where never again becomes a real term. In solemn remembrance of the lives lost, the profound lessons learned, the courage of the survivors, let us unite in our commitment to never forget and to tirelessly strive for a world where such atrocities are never repeated. Ambassador, thank you for the opportunity to make this statement on behalf of the United Nations. Thank you.
Thank you, the UN Resident Coordinator, for reminding us that genocide was planned and brutally executed. And thank you for expressing the commitment of the UN to establish early warning mechanisms to prevent violence. This will never happen again. That is our wish as Rwandans. Allow me to welcome the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps to deliver the remarks. You're welcome.
Honorable Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Excellencies Ambassadors and members of the Diplomatic Corps, governmental officials, ladies and gentlemen. We gather here today in solemn remembrance of one of the darkest chapters in human history, the Rwanda genocide. In just 100 days, more than 800,000 men, women, and children lost their lives in the brutal wave of violence that left scars on the conscience of the world. As we reflect on the events of 1994, we honor the memory of those who perished. We remember the innocent lives cut short, the communities torn apart, and the profound grief that still lingers. Our thoughts are with the survivors whose strength and resilience inspire us all. The genocide in Rwanda was a failure of humanity. It was a stark reminder of the destructive power of hatred and division. But amid the horror, there were also acts of incredible bravery and compassion. People risked their lives to save others, showing us that even in the darkest times, the light of human kindness can shine through. Today, as we remember, we also look forward. We commit ourselves to the principles of peace, justice, and reconciliation. We stand in solidarity with the people of Rwanda, supporting their ongoing efforts to rebuild and heal. Their journey toward recovery is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. The lessons of the Rwanda genocide are not confined to the past. They are a call to action for the present and the future. We must remain vigilant against the forces of hate and division in our own communities and around the world. We must promote understanding, compassion, and unity, ensuring that the horrors of 1994 are never repeated. In standing together, we honor the memory of those lost and uphold the dignity of the survivors. We affirm our shared humanity and our commitment to a world where such atrocities are not just unthinkable, but impossible. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean of Diplomatic Corps. That is so encouraging speech. And thank you for expressing your commitment to support the efforts of the government of Rwanda to rebuild and heal. Now it is a higher time to invite the guest of honor for her speech. You are welcome.
Good afternoon. Your Excellency, the High Commissioner of the Republic of Rwanda to Ghana, Her Excellency Rosemary Mbambazi, the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, the UN Resident Coordinator, the members of the Diplomatic Corps, representative of the IGP, COP FREA, invited guests, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On the solemn occasion of the 30th commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, I have the honor to reaffirm, on behalf of Government of Ghana and the people, our unwavering commitment and support to the government and people of Rwanda, as well as Rwandans worldwide, in their effort to uphold the values of peace, unity, and humanity, in honor of the memory of those who lost their lives. Indeed, the poignant milestone serves as a constant reminder of the enduring importance of remembrance, kikuka, which means to remember in Kinyarwanda, reconciliation and healing in the face of unspeakable tragedy. Ladies and gentlemen, 30 years on, the scar still remains fresh in the hearts of those who lived through the horror. As we stand in solidarity with our Rwandan brothers and sisters, we reflect on the unimaginable pain they endured and the immense courage it took to rebuild their lives and the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recall those dark days when Ghana, in the spirit of its brotherly relations that span over decades, was one of the few nations that stood by Rwanda by contributing troops during the conflict, an action which helped save thousands of lives. This act of support has become the cornerstone of an enduring friendship, which is categorized by mutual respect and support. Since that time, the relations between our two countries have grown from strength to strength, leading to the opening of the diplomatic mission by the Republic of Rwanda in Ghana, and the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on Economic Trade and Cooperation between both countries in 2022, and furtherance of our relations. And I'm happy to announce that Ghana will soon have its first High Commission with residents in Kigali to further consolidate our relations. In light of this, allow me to acknowledge the significant contribution of Major General retired Henry Ayidogu, a distinguished Ghanaian former retired officer who served as force commander of the United Nations Assistance Mission for Rwanda. We salute you, sir. And led a multinational peacekeeping force with courage, determination, and unwavering commitment to uphold the principles of peace and humanitarianism. Ghana salutes you once more, Major General, for the courage and leadership you exhibited during one of the darkest chapters in Rwanda's history. Ladies and gentlemen, in this shared moment of reflection, I also celebrate the progress Rwanda has made over the past few decades. From the ashes of devastation, Rwanda has emerged a beacon of hope, demonstrating the power of unity, forgiveness, and collective effort. Their journey towards recovery and development inspires us all, not only as Africans, but as global citizens. Let us remember that the fight against genocide and mass atrocities is a collective responsibility. As members of the international community, we must strengthen our resolve to prevent such tragedies, promote human rights, and uphold the dignity of all individuals. The lessons of the 1994 genocide must continue to guide our actions and our policies, ensuring that such activities never occur again. Ladies and gentlemen, on this day, my heart is with all Rwandans. I seize this opportunity to reiterate Ghana's renewed and continued support and commitment once again to the shared values of our bilateral relations with Rwanda, which are anchored on, amongst others, mutual respect, respect for the rule of law and human rights, and the maintenance of peace and stability. Long live Rwanda, long live Ghana, long live Ghana-Rwanda relations. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you, guest of honor, Honorable Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Mavis Kansabwadu. We are very happy, and Ghana and Rwanda, we are friends forever. Thank you. Allow me to invite the representative of Rwandan community to come and deliver his remarks. After his remarks, we will have a group photo. I will come back here and tell you how we are going to proceed. Thank you.
Once again, good afternoon. Your Excellencies, all our protocols already established. Before I thank everybody for joining us in this event, I want to make three things. Number one, I take a quote from the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, who said that I say to all those leaders, do not look otherwise. Do not hesitate. It is within your power to avoid a genocide against humanity. I add also another man who said that's Tim Wise, who said that you have to understand what caused genocide to happen. Otherwise, it can happen anywhere else. The third one is when I look at all of us here, everybody is a leader in one way or another. And I do believe that all of us united, we can make a difference. We can save lives. We can stop the genocide. We have been talking about retired General Anyideho. His courage, stand tall. Say, Rwandans all over the world, we always remember you, and we salute you. Our prayer is that may God continue to give you a healthy and a long life to see a better world. And I believe you can have many like you. Finally, John Cousin said that never again is the rallying cry for all who believe that mankind must speak out against genocide. We must speak out. Ideologies and whatever you can imagine are happening all over the world. And everybody here, everybody wherever the world has a say, indeed, to stop genocide, indeed, to avoid genocide. We can do something. Let us not stand still. Don't let the whole world, those things to happen before the eyes of the whole world. This is what we are doing as Rwandans, to inform the world what happened that will never happen again, never again. Your Excellency, High Commissioner of Rwanda, Honorable Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration in Ghana, Honorable Mavis Kansa Bwedu, Your Excellency, UN resident in Ghana, you've been with us since about 3 days. The whole week you are with us, and always you are with us. We really appreciate that. We thank you so much. Your Excellency, Dean of Diplomatic Corps, last year we were together, and today we are together again with your word of encouragement, your word of solidarity, your word of encouragement, your word of support. Your Excellencies, members of diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, lecturers and the professors from GIMPA, members of security, army and the police, we all want to say a big thank you for being with us. Your presence means a lot to us. Your word, your speech is here, Madam Deputy Minister, is so much appreciated here, especially with the Rwandan community. Everybody here present, we say that Aiko, ye damase na mwaba, damase bebre. Finally, our gratitude goes to, once again, to Gimpa, the University of Gimpa, especially the founder. I hope he's here. Is he here still? For what he has accepted to do, to put a memory about the genocide in Rwanda. They are going to mount a statue somewhere there. And over there also, they are going to recognize what our retired general did in Rwanda. Not only that, they are going to recognize you, sir, to salute you. And the whole world will never forget you. So on behalf of High Commission of Rwanda in Ghana and on behalf of Rwanda community, once again I say thank you. We hope to see you next year in the same months, if maybe from April, we don't know, but we hope to see you and come with many people to come and hear the message, understand what happened, so that it shall never be repeated anywhere else. Thank you so much. God bless you for coming.
Thank you, Chairperson of the Rwandan community in Ghana. We are approaching the end of our session today, but allow me to make one comment and two announcements. One comment, we do not say Rwandan genocide. It is clear that we have to mention that it is 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. If you want to introduce Rwanda, just you can mention